Ethan Carter never believed in ghost stories. As an investigative journalist, he trusted facts, logic, and evidence. Fear, to him, was just a reaction to the unknown. But one quiet night, while sorting through old case files, he found something that didn't fit any explanation. A thin folder labeled Hollow Ridge House. Inside were faded newspaper clippings about a family that vanished 20 years ago. No signs of struggle, no blood, no bodies, just silence. The house was sealed the next morning and never opened again. That silence stayed with Ethan, and the longer he stared at those pages, the more he felt that the story wasn't finished. The case bothered him in a way nothing else ever had. Every report ended the same way: no suspects, no answers, just a house standing alone at the edge of town. Ethan knew he couldn't investigate this alone. He needed someone who understood things that couldn't always be explained. So he called Emily Rose, a paranormal researcher known for her calm approach and careful methods. Emily believed that places could remember pain, that walls could hold memories. She didn't jump to conclusions, but she didn't ignore the impossible either. When Ethan told her about Hollow Ridge House, she went quiet. Then she agreed to come. They reached Hollow Ridge late in the afternoon. The town felt strangely still, like it was holding its breath. The road narrowed as tall trees closed in around them. Their phone signals dropped. Even the radio faded into static. Before heading to the house, they stopped at a small diner. The waitress noticed their equipment immediately. When Ethan mentioned Hollow Ridge House, her expression changed. She warned them not to go there. She said the house didn't like visitors. People who entered never came back the same. Ethan tried to smile, but Emily noticed how quiet the diner became after that warning. As night fell, they reached the house. Hollow Ridge House stood alone, dark and broken, surrounded by fog. Its windows looked like empty eyes staring back at them. The front gate was already open, no lock, no chains. It felt less like abandonment and more like an invitation. Ethan lifted his camera and stepped closer. The front door creaked as he pushed it open. Cold air rushed out, carrying the smell of dust and something old. Their footsteps echoed loudly inside, even though the house felt unnaturally silent. Inside, the hallway walls were lined with faded family portraits. Faces watched them from every direction. Ethan filmed quietly, while Emily scanned the air with her equipment. Suddenly, her EMF meter spiked. The temperature dropped instantly. Their breath became visible. Something nearby was reacting to them. On the floor, Ethan noticed a footprint in the dust, long, thin, and fresh. It didn't belong to either of them. Emily whispered that nothing should have disturbed the dust in years. As they climbed the stairs, a soft humming filled the air, a child's voice, gentle and slow. When Ethan called out, the humming stopped instantly. The silence that followed felt heavier than the sound itself. The noise led them to a nursery. A small crib sat in the corner. Without warning, the rocking chair began to move on its own, slowly, carefully. Emily spoke calmly, asking whatever was there to let them know it was aware of them. The room answered by growing colder. In the master bedroom, Emily quickly covered a large mirror with a cloth. She warned Ethan never to look into mirrors in places like this. Mirrors didn't just reflect. Sometimes they opened doors. When they tried to leave, the front door wouldn't open. The lock had turned on its own. Emily touched the wood and pulled her hand back. It felt freezing, like touching deep water. Then, on the wall behind them, deep scratches appeared. Words formed as if carved by invisible hands. "You're late." At the end of the hallway, a tall shadow stood perfectly still. Too tall, too thin. It didn't walk. It slid forward. Emily told Ethan not to run. Fear, she said, only made it stronger. They retreated into a study filled with old books and letters. One letter explained everything. The house didn't take bodies, it took time. People stayed, moment by moment, until they forgot they were ever free. A soft knock echoed on the door, polite, calm, 3 slow taps. Then came the sound of a child laughing. The only path left was the basement. Emily believed the house was anchored there. If they could break it, they could escape. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a circle of melted candles surrounding a small music box. It played the same lullaby they had heard upstairs. Inside the box was a tiny mirror. Emily warned Ethan not to look. He looked anyway. For 1 second, the shadow stood right behind him. Emily smashed the music box. The mirror shattered. Voices screamed and vanished all at once. The air rushed upward, and the front door unlocked. They ran out into the night, gasping for breath. The house stood silent behind them, as if nothing had happened. Days later, back in his apartment, he smelled something familiar. Wet soil after rain. A soft humming filled the room. Slowly, he turned toward the mirror. Behind his reflection stood a tall shadow, patient and still. The house had let him leave, but it had never truly let him go.